Welcome to the deep dive. We've
Yeah.
all been there, right? Every January, it seems, we make these huge, ambitious New Year's resolutions.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to lose weight, learn French, wake up at 5 a.m.
The usual suspects.
Exactly. And then, I don't know, a few weeks later, poof, they just fizzle out. We abandon them. So is it just that we all, lack willpower? Or is there maybe a smarter way to think about change?
Well, that's precisely what we're digging into today.
Yeah.
The idea, coming strongly from our sources, especially James Clear's Atomic Habits, is that maybe, just maybe, the secret to big success isn't some massive overhaul.
Okay.
It's actually about these tiny, seemingly insignificant daily changes. Atomic habits. They compound over time, you see, and can totally shift the direction your life is going.
Right. Compounding, like interest, but for habits.
Exactly. And this isn't some, woo-woo magic. It's presented as a really scientific, practical approach. Lots of examples. It has the potential to change not just what you do, but actually who you are. So our mission for this deep dive, then, is to really unpack these ideas from Atomic Habits. Figure out how they work and, how you listening can maybe apply them starting now.
Let's do it.
Okay, so let's start with this idea that honestly kind of blew my mind. The power of tiny improvements. We always think big goals need big actions, right?
The grand gesture.
Yeah, like you want to lose 20 pounds, you think you need some crazy diet starting tomorrow. But Clear argues that real, profound change, it rarely comes from that one giant leap.
It's the little things, the small stuff done consistently.
Exactly. He calls them atomic habits. Tiny, like an atom, but potentially explosive in their long-term impact. And this 1% rule he talks about is fascinating.
Right. The idea that if you just get 1% better each day.
Over a year, you end up, 37 times better? It's astonishing.
It really is. And the flip side is just as powerful, right? Getting 1% worse each day doesn't seem like much, but it leads you down significantly.
It reminds me of that ice cube analogy he uses, water warming up, say from 6 degrees Celsius, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Nothing seems to be happening visually.
Right. Until it hits 0 degrees, then bam, it freezes. It's a sudden state change, but the work was happening all along, invisibly.
And that explains so much, doesn't it? Why we often feel frustrated, like we're putting in effort but seeing no results. The change is building internally.
So the big takeaway here for you listening is probably don't dismiss those small steps. Change is gradual, yeah, but the cumulative effect is massive. Focus on the trajectory, the direction, not needing a life-altering event tomorrow.
Absolutely. And what's really deep about this, and something I think gets missed a lot, is how these habits connect to your actual identity.
Identity. How so?
Well, Clear argues that the most powerful change isn't just about changing what you do, it's about changing who you believe you are.
Okay, unpack that a bit.
He talks about 3 levels of change. Level 1 is outcomes. Like, I want to lose 10 pounds. That's the result you want.
Got it. Common goal.
Level 2 is process. I will go to the gym 3 times a week. That's the system, the actions. But the deepest level, level 3, is identity. It's shifting to, I am a healthy person, or I am an athlete.
Ah, I see. So it's not just doing healthy things, it's being a healthy person.
Precisely. Think about quitting smoking. Someone might say, I'm trying to quit smoking. They still identify as a smoker who's struggling.
Okay.
Compare that to someone who says, no thanks, I don't smoke. That's an identity shift. It's far more powerful. Or identifying as a writer makes you much more likely to write daily than just being someone who's trying to write a book.
So every time you do the habit, you're casting a vote for that identity.
You got it. Each tiny action reinforces the type of person you wish to become. So the advice is, start by thinking about who you want to be and let the habits and outcomes flow from that identity.
That's a really powerful reframe. Okay, so if we understand identity is key, how do these habits actually work on a, mechanical level? The book talks about a loop, right?
Yeah, the habit loop. It's basically a 4-step pattern that underlies every single habit we have, good or bad. It's fundamental.
Okay, what are the steps?
First, there's the cue. That's the trigger, the signal to your brain, like your phone buzzing.
Right.
Second, the craving. That's the motivation, the desire linked to the cue, maybe the desire to see who messaged you. Third is the response. That's the actual habit you perform, picking up the phone.
Okay.
And fourth, the reward, the satisfaction you get, seeing the message, getting that little dopamine hit. This reward reinforces the whole loop, making you want to do it again next time the cue appears.
So alarm clock rings, cue, crave coffee, make coffee response, feel awake and warm, reward. That's a loop.
Perfect example. Or maybe feeling stress cue, craving relief, craving scrolling social media response, temporary distraction reward. That's a loop too, just maybe not a helpful one.
Gotcha. So these are like mental shortcuts the brain automates.
Exactly. And understanding this loop cue, craving, response, reward is the absolute key. If you want to build a new habit or break an old one, you need to tweak these levers.
Which brings us to the 4 laws of behavior change, I assume. Making those levers work for you.
Precisely. The goal is to make good habits obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying. And the inverse for bad habits.
Okay, let's dive into Law 1 then. Make it obvious. Why is obviousness the first step?
Well, because so many of our habits are completely automatic. We do them without even thinking. We're often not even aware of the cues that trigger them.
Like driving home and suddenly you're there, but you don't remember the specific turns.
Exactly. Or Clear tells that story about the paramedic, I think it was, who just knew something was wrong with the patient before any clear signs appeared. It's pattern recognition built up over time, often subconscious.
So you can't change something if you don't even realize you're doing it.
Precisely. So the first practical step is awareness. And a really powerful tool for this is the habits scorecard.
What's that involve?
You literally just you write down your daily habits. Everything.
Oh.
From waking up, brushing teeth, checking phone, making coffee, commuting, working, eating, all the way to bed.
Okay.
And next to each one, you just mark it. Is this a good habit?
No.
A bad habit? Or neutral?
So waking up and immediately checking social media for 30 minutes, that's probably an X.
Probably. Unless your job requires it, maybe. But for most of us, yeah. Whereas maybe drinking a glass of water after waking up is a check mark. It forces you to actually see your behaviors.
It brings the unconscious into the conscious.
Exactly. You can't fix what you don't see. This scorecard is the diagnostic tool.
Okay, so you've used the scorecard, you're aware of your habits. How do you make the good ones more obvious, more likely to happen?
This is where intentionality comes in. 2 key strategies here. First, implementation intentions.
Sounds formal.
It's actually super simple. It's just a plan for when and where you'll do the habit. The formula is, I will behavior at time in location.
So not just I want to meditate, but I will meditate for 5 minutes at 7 a.m. on the living room couch.
Exactly that. It removes the ambiguity. Your brain knows exactly what to do, when, and where. No decision fatigue in the moment.
See the guesswork out. What's the second strategy?
Habit stacking. This one's brilliant. You link a new habit you want to form with one you already do consistently.
Okay.
The formula is, after current habit, I will new habit.
So like, after I pour my morning coffee, I will take my vitamin.
Perfect. Or, after I take off my work shoes, I will change into my workout clothes. You're piggybacking the new habit onto an established routine. It makes the cue for the new habit incredibly obvious because it's tied to something automatic.
So don't leave it to chance or rely on memory. Define the time and place or link it to something you already do.
That's the core idea for making it obvious. Design the cues.
And what about the environment itself? Does that play a big role in obviousness?
No, huge. Arguably bigger than motivation sometimes. Clear really emphasizes this. Environment motivation.
How so?
Think about it. If you have cookies sitting on the counter, how much willpower does it take not to grab one every time you walk past?
A lot. More than if they were hidden in the cupboard.
Exactly. If your guitar is in its case in the closet, you're less likely to practice than if it's on a stand right in your living room. Visible cues trigger actions.
So the solution is design your space.
Yes. Design your environment to make the cues for your desired habits unavoidable and the cues for your bad habits invisible.
Practical examples.
Put fruit in a bowl on the counter, hide the junk food, lay out your workout clothes the night before, put the book you want to read on your pillow, charge your phone across the room, not next to your bed.
So it's less about self-blame and more about smart setup.
Absolutely. Make the right choice, the easy, obvious choice, because the cue is right there.
That actually makes me think about self-control.
Yeah.
We tend to admire people with iron willpower.
The Stoics who can resist anything.
Yeah. But the book suggests maybe that's not the most effective approach. It says something like, rather than fighting evil, stay away from evil.
It's a key insight. The people who seem to have the best self-control are often the ones who structure their lives so they don't need to exercise it as often.
So they're avoiding the temptation in the first place.
Exactly. If you're trying to cut down on TV, maybe put the remote in a drawer in another room. If you impulse buy online, delete the shopping apps from your phone. Remove the cue.
Don't walk through the fire if you can just walk around it.
Precisely. It's often easier to avoid temptation than to resist it. So controlling your environment is actually a more reliable form of self-control than relying purely on willpower which we know is finite. Remove the cue for the bad habit, and you short-circuit the loop before it even starts.
Okay, that covers making it obvious. Law number 2 is make it attractive. How does attractiveness fit into habits?
This gets into the brain chemistry, specifically dopamine. We often think dopamine is about the pleasure of the reward, but research shows it's heavily involved in the anticipation of the reward.
Ah, the craving part of the loop.
Exactly. That feeling of wanting, desiring, expecting something good. That's dopamine driving you forward. It's the anticipation of checking social media notifications, not just the notifications themselves, that creates the pull.
So for good habits, which maybe aren't inherently thrilling, we need to boost that anticipation, make them more appealing.
Yes, we need to make them attractive.
Yeah.
And one really effective technique for this is called temptation bundling.
Temptation bundling sounds intriguing.
It's where you pair an action you want to do with an action you need to do.
Okay, give me an example.
So maybe you need to exercise, but you want to listen to your favorite podcast or watch a specific show. You bundle them. I only get to listen to this podcast while I'm running on the treadmill.
Or I only get to watch my favorite Netflix show while I'm folding laundry.
Exactly. Or I can have my favorite healthy snack while I'm doing my study session. You link something you crave with the habit you're trying to build, making the habit itself more attractive because it's associated with something you enjoy.
That's clever. You're hijacking the dopamine spike from the want activity and attaching it to the need activity.
You got it. Making the necessary thing more fun.
What else makes habits attractive? The book talks a lot about social influence, doesn't it?
Oh, massively. Humans are herd animals, fundamentally. We want to fit in, to belong, to earn the respect of our peers. So the behaviors that are normal and celebrated in our culture or social circles become incredibly attractive to us.
We become what our society does.
That's the gist. We imitate the habits of three main groups: the close, family and friends; the many, the tribe, the majority; and the powerful, those with status and prestige.
So if all your friends are runners, you're more likely to find running attractive.
Much more likely. Or if everyone in your office eats healthy lunches, you'll feel more inclined to do the same. If you want to read more, join a book club. Want to be more entrepreneurial? Surround yourself with founders.
So the strategy is find a tribe where your desired behavior is the normal behavior.
Exactly. Immerse yourself in a culture where the habits you want are already standard practice. It makes them seem not just doable, but normal and attractive. Change your social environment, and you'll often find your habits change almost automatically to fit in.
Okay, so that's making good habits attractive. What about the inverse? Making bad habits unattractive?
This requires looking a bit deeper. Often, bad habits are just, well, flawed attempts to meet legitimate underlying needs.
Like what?
Like, smoking might be a way to deal with stress. The real need is stress relief. Binge watching TV might be a way to cope with boredom or loneliness. The real need is engagement or connection.
So the habit itself isn't the root problem, it's just a poor solution to a real need.
Often, yes. So to make a bad habit unattractive, you need to reframe the benefits. Highlight the downsides of the bad habit and find a better way to meet that underlying need.
So instead of smoking for stress, maybe meditation or exercise.
Yeah.
Instead of mindless scrolling for boredom, maybe call a friend or work on a hobby.
Exactly. You need to consciously associate the bad habit with negative feelings or outcomes and find a positive alternative that fulfills the same core need. It's about understanding the why behind the bad habit and then choosing a more beneficial path to meet that why. Make the consequences of the bad habit feel unattractive.
All right, that's obvious and attractive. Law 3, make it easy. This seems crucial.
Absolutely critical, because fundamentally we humans are wired to conserve energy. We naturally gravitate towards the option that requires the least amount of work, the law of least effort.
So even if we know something is good for us, if it's hard, we're less likely to do it.
Much less likely. Think about trying to start a new workout routine. If the gym is 30 minutes away, requires packing a bag, changing, there's a lot of friction.
Right, compared to just doing some push-ups at home.
Exactly. So the principle is reduce the friction associated with good habits and increase the friction for bad habits.
Make good habits the path of least resistance.
Precisely. Keep your running shoes by the door. Prep your healthy meals in advance. Keep the book you want to read on your nightstand. Unsubscribe from tempting email lists. Log out of social media accounts.
So you're basically smoothing the path for good choices and putting roadblocks in front of bad ones.
That's the essence of it. Don't rely on heroic effort. Just make the good stuff easier to do than the bad stuff. Redesign your environment and routines to minimize friction for the habits you want.
And within making it easy, there's that 2-minute rule. Right. I find this one really compelling.
It's incredibly powerful for overcoming procrastination and just getting started. The idea is, when you start a new habit, make it take less than 2 minutes to do.
Less than 2 minutes. That seems too small.
It seems small, but the point isn't to achieve the full goal in 2 minutes. The point is to master the art of showing up.
So it's about making the starting ritual easy.
Exactly. Read before bed each night becomes read 1 page. Do 30 minutes of yoga becomes take out my yoga mat. Run 3 miles becomes put on my running shoes.
Because once you've started, it's easier to continue.
Often, yes. The inertia is broken. You've overcome the initial resistance. That 2-minute start can often blossom into a longer session, but even if it doesn't, you still reinforce the habit of starting. You showed up.
That lowers the barrier dramatically. It makes it almost impossible not to start.
That's the goal. Make it so easy you can't say no.
And how does consistency fit into making it easy? It feels like repetition is key here.
It's everything. Habits form through frequency, not necessarily intensity or duration, especially at first. It's about reps.
Like practicing scales on a piano rather than trying to play a concerto on day one.
Perfect analogy. It's the act of doing it again and again that encodes the behavior. Don't worry about perfection, especially early on. Just put in the reps.
Which connects to that never miss twice rule you mentioned earlier.
Absolutely. Missing once is an accident. Missing twice is the start of a new, unwanted habit. The key isn't to be perfect, but to get back on track immediately after a slip-up. That consistency, even imperfect consistency, is what makes the habit stick and become easier over time.
So focus on showing up, even for 2 minutes, reduce the friction, and never miss twice. That makes it easy.
That's the core of Law 3.
Okay, final law. Make it satisfying. Why is satisfaction so important at the end of the loop?
Because our brains are wired to repeat rewarded behaviors. The first 3 laws make it obvious, attractive, easy, increase the odds you'll perform the habit this time. Make it satisfying, increases the odds you'll repeat it next time.
It closes the loop and tells your brain, hey, that was good, let's do it again.
Precisely. The problem is, many good habits have delayed rewards. Exercise benefits you long-term, but might feel unpleasant right now. Saving money pays off later, but spending is fun now.
While bad habits often have immediate rewards but delayed costs, smoking feels relaxing now. Health problems come later.
Exactly. So we need to find ways to bring immediate satisfaction to our good habits. And one simple way is tracking.
Tracking, like the habit scorecard.
Sort of, but more about tracking completion. Marking an X on a calendar after you meditate, using a fitness app to log your workout, moving a paperclip from one jar to another after making sales calls.
So it provides immediate visual proof of progress.
Yes. It feels good to see that chain of X's growing or that progress bar filling up. It's a small, immediate reward that says, I did it. It makes the habit feel satisfying right away, even before the long-term benefits kick in.
And it reinforces that don't break the chain mentality.
Absolutely. Tracking provides immediate evidence you're moving forward, which is incredibly satisfying and motivating.
What about other ways to make habits satisfying? Accountability comes up, doesn't it?
Yes. Accountability can be a powerful motivator, often working on the principle of avoiding social disapproval, which is a form of satisfaction maintaining your reputation.
So telling a friend you'll meet them at the gym at 6 a.m.
Makes you much more likely to go because you don't want to let them down or look bad. That's an accountability partner.
Or like a commitment contract, where there's a cost if you fail.
Right. Maybe you give a friend $100 and tell them they can keep it if you don't stick to your habit for a month. The pain of losing the money, or the social consequence, makes sticking to the habit more satisfying in the immediate term.
So using external pressure to reinforce the internal commitment.
It can be very effective for some people. Knowing someone else is watching or there's a consequence adds immediate weight to your actions.
And to keep things satisfying long-term, there's the Goldilocks rule, right? About keeping things challenging but not too challenging.
Exactly. Humans crave challenges, but only if they're within an optimal zone of difficulty. Not too hard, not too easy. Just right like Goldilocks porridge.
So if a habit becomes too easy, it gets boring.
Yes, you lose motivation. If it's constantly too difficult, you get discouraged and quit. Peak motivation happens when you're working on tasks that are right on the edge of your current abilities.
Like leveling up in a video game. Always slightly harder, but achievable.
Perfect analogy. You need to find that sweet spot. Maybe start with a 2-minute habit, then gradually increase the difficulty as you get better, run a bit longer, read a few more pages, meditate for another minute. That feeling of progress, of meeting a manageable challenge is deeply satisfying and keeps you engaged.
So stay in that zone where it's challenging enough to be interesting, but not so hard. It's demoralizing.
That's the key to long-term satisfaction and motivation.
Now, this is interesting. The book also mentions a potential downside to habits,
It-
even good ones.
Yeah, it's a really insightful point. Habits are essential for efficiency. They automate behavior. But if you become too reliant on autopilot, you can stop paying attention.
You go into mindless repetition.
Exactly. You might keep doing the same workout routine even when it's no longer challenging you, or follow the same processes at work without thinking if there's a better way. Habits can lead to mastery, but they can also lead to stagnation if you don't periodically review them.
So you lose creativity or stop adapting.
It's a risk. The solution isn't to ditch habits, but to build in regular periods of reflection and review. Ask yourself, are my habits still serving me? Are they still aligned with my goals? Am I still learning and growing, or just going through the motions?
So use habits for discipline, but don't let them become a cage. Stay mindful.
Precisely. Habits are a foundation, but you need to consciously decide what to build on top of them. They're a means, not the end goal itself.
Wow. Okay, bring this all together then. It really hammers home that message.
Yeah.
Forget the giant leaps. Big life changes come from the accumulation of those tiny atomic habits.
Every 1% improvement, every 2-minute start, every tracked success, it all adds up. It shapes who you become.
That writer finishing a book one page at a time, the person becoming calmer through 10 minutes of daily meditation. It's the consistency of the small things.
And it all ties back to that identity piece. The habits you cultivate are literally building the person you are, vote by vote, action by action.
Maybe we could do a quick recap, like the absolute essential takeaways.
Yeah, let's try a rapid fire 10.
Go for it.
Okay, 1, the 1% rule. Small daily gains compound massively. Aim for tiny improvements.
Okay.
Focus on systems, not goals. Build good processes. Trust the results will follow. Design your environment. Make good habits obvious and easy, bad habits invisible and hard.
4.
Habit stacking. Link new habits to existing ones. After X, I will Y.
5.
Visual cues. Make the cues for good habits stand out. Fruit bowl, not cookie jar.
6.
Track your habits. Don't break the chain. Visual progress is satisfying. Immediate reward. Find ways to make good habits feel good now, even if it's just tracking. Temptation bundling works too.
8.
Never miss twice. Consistency beats intensity. Get back on track immediately.
9.
The 2-minute rule. Make habits incredibly easy to start. Just show up.
And 10.
Identity connection. Frame habits around who you want to be. I am a runner, not just I run.
That's a fantastic summary. This deep dive into atomic habits really shifts the perspective, doesn't it? It's not just about doing habits. It feels more like a blueprint for intentional living.
It really does. And the final thought for you listening might be this. Change doesn't happen overnight, we know that, but it does start on one specific day. Today's tiny 1% shift, that small atomic habit you choose to start or change today, that could genuinely be the first step towards a completely transformed identity tomorrow. So maybe ask yourself, what's the one small thing I can do differently today?
A powerful question to end on. Change your habits.
And your life will start to change itself.